Welcome back to another action-packed episode of the Deadly Podcast of Kung Fu, brought to you by the Villains Man, where myself, Justin Raymer, attempt to traverse the continuity of Marvel's most prolific martial artist in Iron Fist and Shang Chi. If you want to keep up with the podcast, you can do so over on social media platforms, Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. As you're listening to this episode, it is San Diego Comic-Con weekend. I will be posting all the Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, and adjacent news to those characters that I can find. So please, follow the socials, keep up. I'm sure we're going to get some stuff. I do plan on doing maybe a special, giving the news that we get. By the time I've recorded this, also, we already know that there's a cover for Undead Iron Fist number 2 released. We also know that Eyes of Wakanda is moving from the end of August to the beginning of August with all 4 episodes dropping, which is all thrown a monkey wrench into my plans for the podcast. So, I might do a San Diego Comic-Con special, depending on what we get. And I'm not sure, I had some stuff planned for Eyes of Wakanda, the main overall episode I will still do. I planned on going over all of the Iron Fist in history for the podcast. Not sure that that's going to happen now because I had a whole month of that planned out and now it's like a week. So, don't think that's going to happen anyways. But, expect that San Diego Comic-Con exclusive episode probably Sunday. Yeah, most comic book news will finish up before then. If not, it'll be Monday evening most likely. Let's go ahead and talk about the main event for this episode, which is Master of Kung Fu number 79. It's been an exciting 2 issues. Really like this Zaran character, so I'm really curious to see where this went. Which I shouldn't say that. I already know where it's went. That's why I'm doing a review over it. But anyways, the issue was released on May 22nd, 1979, along with 12 other titles from Marvel Comics. They are Defenders, Volume 1, number 74. Fantastic Four, Volume 1, 209. I absolutely loved Fantastic Four. That's the Fantastic Four movie we deserve. I'm not going to spoil anything. Some of my friends thought it was better than Superman. I did. Some of my friends thought Superman was better. Both 2 really good movies. Go see them both. Support those comic book movies. But man, Fantastic Four, that's what Marvel's first family deserved to be. Galactus. Galactus is inevitable. Love it. But anyways, let's get back to this list. Hulk, Volume 1, number 15. That doesn't seem like that fits here, but anyways, yeah. Iron Man, Volume 1, number 125. John Carter, Warlords of Mars, Volume 1, number 26. Marvel Premiere, Volume 1, number 49. Marvel Team Up, Volume 1, number 84. I do believe that is Shang-Chi adjacent to. I do think that's the team up with him and Spider-Man versus Silver Samurai. So this is the power of editing. I'm probably not going to edit it. Let me go here to my episodes list that I have planned. Yes, I have things planned up all the way up until like 2021 when I started the pod. So let's see where we're at here. I'll have to change a bunch of this stuff around with everything that has happened. So there's Master 79. 84 and 85 is actually the next Bronze Age Shang-Chi stuff I have listed to cover. So expect that here probably in the fall on the podcast. But let's go ahead and get back to this list because apparently I am everywhere today. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 33. That might be an issue with Hector Elia White Tiger, but we're not even going to go there. We're just going to keep going. Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos, Volume 1, number 153. Star Wars, Volume 1, number 26. Tarzan, Volume 1, number 27. What If, Volume 1, number 16 wraps up the list, which I do believe, just looking at the little thumbnail from the screenshot I took, is the Shang-Chi What If issue. Man, there's a lot of Shang-Chi issues in this store here. You know what? I actually have this pulled up still from the Marvel database page. So let's just go look at it and give you a little extra content here for the episode. So Hulk, it with an exclamation mark. Oh yeah, okay, that's the Curtis mag. That's my bad. Yes, well, maybe that does fit here. Alright, so we already established that Marvel team up number 84 is the one with Master of Kung Fu, Silver Samurai, and Boomerang. We established that. Let's look at this Spectacular Spider-Man with Peter Parker. I know the White Tiger is pretty prevalent in this part. Nope, it is not. But let's go down to that what if number 16. There it is. What if Shang Chi, Master of Kung Fu, fought on the side of Fu Manchu? Now, I actually had that planned as a one-shot here very soon. And then they announced the Ultimate Shang Chi was going to appear in Defenders, I guess that's 15. And I thought, man, you know what? Maybe I should just cover that and throw that in there. So I kind of pushed this back. I had this set up for this moment. So anyways, I guess we're not. Maybe I will. It just depends on what's going on. It's kind of like a filler spot. When I get these stories that are like 3-4 issues, and I need just like something to throw in the hole for the next week to kind of spread it out for the next ongoing arc. That's what I have these listed for. And I remember taking this out. So yeah, a lot of Shang-Chi in the week of, what is this? Week 21, 1979. So 3 issues of Shang-Chi. Awesome. Anyways, the title of this story is called To Sleep, This Side of Death. In your creative team, we got Doug Minch and Mike Zeck returning as writer and penciler, Gene Day on inks, Bob Sharon as your colorist, Jim Novak as your letterer, and Roger Stern is your editor. The cover is done by the artistic team of Zeck and Day. It depicts a sweaty Shang-Chi standing over a very weary, maybe unconscious Lee Go-woo, and he's defending her. It's part of the story. Can't ever complain when the cover of the issue fits the story. And part of the title is actually on the cover. This Side of Death. Shang-Chi and Liko drive all night and arrive at Sir Dennis Nayland Smith Castle in Scotland. The spy is still weak from her concussion from Zaran's attack on her car. To her shock, so is Shang-Chi, as his lack of sleep and swimming through the cold lock has made him sick. Inside the castle, Zaran teases killing all the former MI6 agents until there is a knock at the door. The assassin hesitates, unsure if it's Sarsfield's men coming to help the slain agent he just killed. Momentarily using the distraction, Blackjack Tar sucker punches Zaran. The strain on the swing opens up his bullet wound, but is enough for Shang-Chi and Liko to come running to the rescue. Unfortunately for the Master of Kung Fu, his sickness is spreading fast and exhaustion attacks his body from running. Zaran picks up on the weakness and throws aside Shang-Chi, who barely deflects it. As it hits Liko in the head, delirium overcomes the hero, causing confusion as he sees the Sandman beckon him to sleep. Uncertain of who is in front of him, Zaran takes advantage and begins to beat Shang-Chi relentlessly. His allies watch on in fear, but all the Master of Kung Fu sees is a Sandman forcing him to sleep. Tar screams for him to fight back, and his words begin to break through the delirium the sickness has brought on. Rising to his feet, Shang-Chi's body gives way to rage as his mind realizes what has been happening to him. His soul has been polluted by the struggles of the world, dragging it from the ascendancy he searched for and allowed this weakness to seep in. But it is too far late to purge this sickness because his anger has now defeated the Sandman. Beyond Shang-Chi's delirium, the beaten Zaran throws an explosive sigh at the ceiling as he makes his escape. Again, Blackjack Tar screams a warning, but it falls on the deaf ears of the Master of Kung Fu as he watches the heavens break and crumble towards him. As it does, sleep finally overtakes him as the bound and gagged Sir Dennis Nayland Smith in his chair manages to knock him out of the way of the falling debris. Sarsfield's men then arrive but act like they know nothing of his actions while removing his dead body. Sir Dennis Nayland Smith plays along with the agents as the others get Shang-Chi to bed rest. In his fevered dreams, he tells them of the mysterious and familiar figure at Zaran's lodge. Playing the tape, they learn who he speaks of as Fa Lo Su has recorded a message to her brother over Shockwave's confession. With their evidence against MI6 erased, Shang-Chi's dreams turn to Liko and her past love with their allied friend Clive Reston. Not what I was expecting in this issue at all, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But I was expecting like a lot of action, and we got this strange and unique take on a fight, and I did not expect this. And it is kind of confusing when you open up the issue. So we get the opening page. It's as cool as the last one, which is kind of like the film reel, which I covered in the last episode. But this one we see Shang Chi, and he's like laying or floating, I should say, down a river in the cosmos. On one side stands Zaran looking over him, and on the other side is a pale figure with their hand in the water holding a scythe. But that scythe is split in two, and the other half of it is a spear that is held by Zaran. And they hold the spear in the spear in the same spot, and it's like their hands are almost melded together. Really trippy cosmic stuff. And this is the first time we've not seen Shang-Chi be a little delirium. Early on in Master of Kung Fu, I think that's around maybe 18, 19. I know I just talked about the last issue about Fu Manchu being in the Amazon and Shang-Chi and MI6 going down there after him. Right before that, Shang-Chi goes down to Florida where there's all this, high-potency, drug-laced mimosa that Fu Manchu is going to unleash on the world. And Shang-Chi winds up coming under its effects. And we get some really trippy stuff in that book, too. So this is not the first time we've seen some delirium stuff. Drawn completely different. It's a completely type of LSD trip we got going on here. And it's really cool. But yeah, very cool opening page. Because in the foreground, Shang-Chi's legs are spread open as he's like floating down the river. And the title is like coming from his crotch down to like spread out where his legs are. It's pretty neat. Really cool opening page. And it's confusing because I'm like, is this death? Because it's got a scythe. You don't imagine the Sandman with a scythe. But it goes on to explain a lot of this in the next recap page. And it kind of goes into further detail about what's been causing Shang-Chi to be so weary. So she's talking about her concussion, Liko is. And Shang-Chi says, "Just tired, Liko. Lumps in the side of my throat." She answers him, "Uh-oh, swollen glands. I hope you're not getting the flu, but I wouldn't be surprised. Not after all you've been through in the past few days." Now, if you read about this online, they're going to say he's drugged in this issue. No, he's just really freaking tired and sick. And we kind of explain why as we're getting this really cool recap page. It's all elongated panels that meld together to tell you what's going on in the last 3 issues. So, we barely got back from Mordillo's Island before you got into that fight on the docks of Melee Jacks, followed by an emotional near breakdown, enough to drain the life out of anybody, then an all-night drive, capped by a fight with Zaran on top of that train, after which you carried me 6 kilometers to that end. So we know the last episode, when after the wreck, he walked over 6 kilometers. That's over 6 miles. That's pretty wild. And carried her, like cradled in his arms. Then, a frigid swim across the lake for another fight with Zaran, and now another night of driving, all without any sleep. So, yeah, this is why he is tired in this issue. This is why he's delusional. And I thought that was a really cool way to tell the story and explain the fight. And it gives reason for Zaran to get an upper hand and to get an edge on Shang-Chi without, just Shang-Chi being this complete badass that just runs over everybody. Like, hey, he's fallen to weakness. And even after this, she talks to him about being sick. And he says, like, just once when I was a child, And that explains a little further on in the story that we'll get to here. And like I said, man, mention Zek, they create this wonderful back and forth of Zaran and the Sandman, not the DC Sandman, that Shang-Chi is seeing in his delirium. And so first, when they first show up, Zaran throws a sigh. He deflects it, and it hits Liko Wu in the head. And he's like, oh man, well, she's already been, has this concussion, and it's Zaran's fault. And that just makes him think, because they thought that Dennis's castle was safe and that Blackjack Tar was overreacting when he called them. So they think everything is safe here. And when this is happening, Shang-Chi thinks, oh, I'm dreaming because I'm tired and I'm sick. Zaran's not really here. And then Zaran kind of mocks him. He knows that there's something wrong. And then we see like the cosmos form behind Zaran as this mist kind of opens up behind him. And in the next panel, it's the same size, drawn in the same way, but Warrior Zaran is the Sandman, and he's all ghostly looking. And Zaran just starts beating the snot out of him. So, the inner monologue for Shang-Chi is really cool. It explains it really good here. I moved through thick liquid, but I swore I would meet Zaran again to avenge him what he did to Liko the first time, and now he has done it again? Or has he? Is he really here, or do I merely imagine him? Has my desire to face him again created this fantasy of his presence? And this is where we see him in the cosmos with the smoke billowing or the mist billowing behind him. The next panel, drawn exact same way, but with the Sandman in Zaran's spot. If so, it is not Zaran. It is in true sleep, only sleep, where sound is muffled, vision warped, time distorted. Yes, sleep. Must go to sleep. Embrace sleep. Next page opens up, and Zaran just cracks him with his right fist. His inner monologue says, not Zaran. Must not embrace Zaran. For Zaran will only turn on me, and Zaran just beats him senseless. Betraying me in my weakness, using my need for sleep to beat me down into sleep forever. And then we see Zaran screaming at him. There's no dialogue. Have I fallen, or has he grown? Is he larger than life? And I think he gloats now. And then we see Shang-Chi laying face down on the ground. He's sweating, he's weak, he's kind of looking up at Zaran. But, looking up, he is gone again. There is nothing. And again, same size panel, but the Sandman is drawn in Zaran's place. Nothing but sleep. Soothing sleep. And the Sandman's not attacking him this entire time. He's like sprinkling like sleeping dust and all this other stuff as Zaran's beating him down. Zaran starts kicking the shit out of him. In pain, breath gone, sparks of color and pain. Must be very sick if sleep brings pain. But now, in the end, sleep will be gentle to me. I can feel it. I can trust sleep. And then we see the Sandman sprinkling the dust on him. See, he raises his hand, holding a soft ball of darkness, which bursts into the shifting sprinkles, the twinkling dust of golden dreams. He drops it down at me. I welcome it, and he just looks uncertain at what's going on. He can't tell what's going on. We see Blackjack Tar screaming at him that he's about to die. Then we see Zaran standing over Shang-Chi with a sigh like he's about to throw it at him. Zaran, yes, Zaran, holding the glitter of sleep, the final ultimate sleep. And we see that sigh in his hand, it's glimmering in the light. Then Shang-Chi literally goes Hulk smash, Goku, Kaioken, the way he's colored in part of this panel. So we see Shang-Chi, he rolls out of the way of the sigh, and he says, Zaran, you tried to trick me. We go to his inner monologue as he's climbing to his feet. He's on his hands and knees. I rise, my eyes burning, my veins afire, fueled by streaming adrenaline. He gets up to one knee and looks at Zaran, my tongue tasting the bite of sheared copper. He stands up, starts to take a defensive stance. My nostrils flare to the brimstone which expands in my chest. He gets his arms up like he's ready to attack. My fever raging, my body high and ready to burst. You tricked me, Kia! And he throws a dragon kick at him. I know he cannot be stopped. I think he is me. And then we see this burst of light and Zaran go flying away. And yet he is not me, cannot be me, for I have changed. I have been polluted by the sickness of the West, deprived of my father's discipline and guidance. My teachers have become lazy and weak, unlike the mad beast who now savages Zaran. I have allowed the mystery of Kung Fu to remain static, perhaps even slipping into decline. There has been too little rising and advancing of late, but now it changes. The mad thing, which is me, bristles with intensity, maniacal, almost bestial, and he is just beating the snot out of Zaran at this time. My body seems to glow. He jumps in the air. A red haze burns from my skin. Energy bleeds from my pores, and I'm assuming he stomps him. You know how you get the Bruce Lee stomp where he stomps somebody and he gets a... And he does that like that real tense, like, strain of his body. And we get a close-up of Shang-Chi. It looks like he's doing that while he's sweating. And I am wild. But wait, I can also be cunning. I will stop now because my enemy has fallen. On the next page, we get Shang-Chi, and he's standing over the Sandman, who is in the, I'm assuming, River of Dreams. The sleeps. I have conquered him. Conquered sleep, moving beyond death, into a new plane, even beyond life. I am the heir to the realm of sleep, and I am awake in sleep and triumphant. I shall, and that's when the dagger gets thrown by Zaran, and the ceiling explodes. Yes, the heavens are sundered, opening to greet my ascension to glory. The fall of sleep. Fascinating. Falling sleep. At this time, it just shows him looking up and that the ceiling's cracking before, finally, Sir Dennis Nayland Evans, a guy you want to poke and be like, do something, finally manages to rock his chair over and knock him out of the way. My only complaint about this issue is this right here. I wish that in this delirium, Zek would have drawn the heavens falling down on Shang-Chi like what he sees. Because we've got him seeing the Sandman and the cosmos and like the River of Dreams. I wish we would have just seen heaven falling on top of him. I thought that would be really, really cool. But we don't. So, and then the bookends. I thought it was cool that the agents decided to be like, oh, we didn't know Sarsfield was trying to kill you guys. Sir Dennis Nayland Smith knows, and he plays along. More the game that Shang-Chi's sick of. So while this is going on, they get Shang-Chi to rest. And Sir Dennis Nayland Smith plays the tape. And it is shocked because second to last page, I was right. The silhouette is that hair. That hair really, I could picture that hair from the Golden Dagger saga in the beginning. The way that Follow Sue's hair was and that silhouette that Zek drew was perfect. And yeah, I could tell that it was her. And when Smith plays it, it says, greetings, my brother. So you know that it was her. And it is cool that she does this and she explains that she's doing it. As you know, an old tape is erased when new recordings are made over it. And you can see the fear on Smith's face because he knows all the evidence they had that they finally had back to give to the Prime Minister of England, like, gone. They're still doomed. And, like, he looks terrified. And I like that. I like that she is back. Like I said in the last issue, maybe she needs to recruit Shang-Chi and these former agents. Maybe she's working for her father. We don't know, because that is the last thing she says. As you know, an old tape is erased when a new recording is made over it. That's all. That's all she says. We don't know what the rest of the tape says. It's a great cliffhanger. And then you get an unexpected cliffhanger. Don't know where it came from. There's no callback to it in this issue. But he's explaining to him, Shang-Chi is like who he thinks he's talking to. Like, he knew it was familiar. And then his inner monologue is kind of strange. So he's telling him, voice so familiar, chasing me, haunting me, from the past, running, must escape, legs moving, but can't move, can't get away. Stop it, tell me, please, am I dreaming? And you're thinking that he is talking about Follow Suit, because at this time, Smith is listening to the tape. And then it said, or did Liko ever really melt, dressed in purple sparks, because she loved resting? Curveball. Great cliffhanger, curveball at the end. Because he's not, in his delirium, seen Liko, he's not seen Clive Reston. And at this time, I mean, we're 30 issues into Melissa Grievel being involved in all this, and like her and Clive or an item. Like, I loved the tension between Shang-Chi and Clive Reston over Liko back in the day, but like that's been laid to rest. But now he's got this delirium going on, and I'm wondering if they're going to come to blows, because Shang-Chi, we see this rage that he's given into, and he's aware of it. He just couldn't control his body. So I'm wondering if that's going to lead to something. So, like I said, great cliffhanger, swung in with a curveball, and you're out. I love that. Great way to end this book. So, why did Follow Suit hire Zaran? Surely it wasn't to help them, because he was attacking them. Now that I think about that, so what I just recently said doesn't make any sense. Or maybe she was wanting them dead to cut Shang-Chi off from that, so he would be more acceptable to helping her. I have no clue. I'm very curious to see where that goes. But that'll wrap up this episode of the Deadly Podcast, Kung Fu, brought to you by the Villain's Man. If you want to keep up with podcasts, please do over on social media accounts, Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. I will be posting stuff from San Diego all weekend. So as you listen to this, you probably already caught up on some San Diego Comic-Con news. If you like my music, check out Russian Tiger by Kuro over on SoundCloud and YouTube. But overall, please support your local comic shops and keep reading comics, guys.